Okay, hello guys. If you are hearing this, we can start now. This is my first video tutorial with audio. I was able to get a mic, so the recording will be all spoken, and I'll be able to give much more explanation in the process than in the previous videos, which I was only typing some general information. Okay. Mostly I'll be starting from scratch with Blender. This tutorial is not for people who uh, did not have any contact with Dead or Alive modding tools to fully understand what I'll be passing here and showing here. You got to at least read this tutorial, which I shared at DeviantArt, okay, in which I talk about general information about modding, what one needs to know, and also I have listed several tools which I consider to be the key tools for modding Dead or Alive 5, and not including Blender, of course. But if you went through this reading, and if you already have contact with these tools and you know what they can do, if you have at least basic to intermediary knowledge about these tools, this tutorial about Blender is going to help you. Okay, so let's go for Blender. There are several versions of Blender. Uh, I don't use the latest one. Latest one is 4.4. And the reason is because I'm not sure all the plugins will work with this version of Blender. If you look other modders, they might be still using version 2.79, if I'm not mistaken, because the plugins for sure work well with that one. In my case, I use the version 28320. Okay. To download previous versions of Blender, you just go to Blender page, download, choose here previous versions, and then you can choose download any Blender version, and you have all the list here. Okay. In my case, I'm using the 283, so just came here, several options, installation option in which you can unpack at your computer and don't install anything. Although Blender will create some files in your hard drive, but that's the way to go. Okay, so that's how you get Blender to install on your computer. You can choose a different version, but if something goes wrong, you probably will know why it went wrong. So let's get into Blender here. Blender 28320. First time I'm opening here my computer. Okay. So once you open Blender, Blender will be in the default setup, and there are some things you've got to do to make the working area better, which is a personal preference of the user, of course. Okay. One thing I gotta tell you, I'm not a 3D artist, so I'll probably be using several terms here which probably are wrong. So I ask you to forgive me on that. I learned Blender by myself and looking at the internet. So if there is something I say which is not right, sorry, but be sure of something. What I'm showing you here works. It's how I do mod, okay, for this game. So first of all, let's configure Blender. Blender starts with this cube, which we can delete. Then we can change the scale of this UI because in my opinion it's really small. So we go to preferences, resolution scale, and we start to increase this until you see it's good enough. I like to go 130 at least. Okay. Okay, it's done. Another thing which I advise you to do, there is a menu here, and there is this focal length, which is standard 50. I work with 250. I think it's better. To close this menu, just press key N at the keyboard, as in nose, okay? You press N and it closes. Once you have arranged, I'm pressing the middle button of the mouse to do this kind of rotation, okay? That's how you can rotate the working area, the 3D working area. And the wheel, of course, zooms in and out. So I'm zooming in and out with the wheel and pressing the wheel button, I can manipulate like this, okay? Of course, you can also manipulate by holding this menu here and also moving mouse on diagonal. You also get that. But using the middle button, it's faster and better. Once you have arranged Blender in such a way that you like how the environmental work is, you just come here, File, Default, Save Startup File, Save. Once you have saved, you can close Blender. I'm not going to save changes because there is no project, but close Blender. Open Blender again, and it's gonna open in the exact same condition that you left, okay? Which is quite a hand and time saving. Okay, now we're going to install the plugins so we can work with Dead or Alive modding. We're going to come here also on Preference. We got add-ons. You have to unpack the plugins. If you go to, I spoke about my tutorial and the tools. If you go to Nexus mods, under Dead or Alive 5 there is a section of utilities, and this is where I have the specific tutorials for each tool, okay, which I shared. And you go in the TMC Bone and TMC Polygon Insert tools. In the download section there are the Blender plugins. You just have to download and unpack somewhere in your computer. There's only one detail that this TMC Bone importer exporter and this other importer exporter, you gotta get the zip file inside of the zip file to install. It has different names. Okay, the file you are going to see are basically these ones. As you can see, it's not this zip file. It's what is inside of these two zip files, which are these ones. The other ones are the zip files straight. There are some additional plugins here, but they're not very relevant for this tutorial. So once you have unpacked the plugins in a folder, you come to Blender again. Let's go back. Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Install. And we are going to install our plugins, which, by the way, got to be installed one by one. It's quite a pain, but it's how it is. So you choose the plugin, click, go to the next one, click, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 6, 7, 8. My case, oops, sorry. My case 9. But in our case, if you download from Nexus, it's going to be a little bit less. Okay, once you have installed the plugins, how can you check everything is in place? You change here from Now to User, click this X, and it's going to show all the plugins that you have installed. So here you can check if all the plugins are in place. If they are in place, you're ready to go. Okay. So that's how you start with Blender. Okay. Blender is ready to load your mod here, so you can start to work. Of course, I'm going to do one mod now, step by step. It's a specific case in which I'll be showing details about Blender and also about modding. I think this tutorial is going to help several people to get used to the Blender interface, to the commands, and how to get some things done. Okay. The mod I'm using is from Funny Bunny 36. He just released it last week. It's quite mod from Yotengu. she's using some boots here, and the purpose of the tutorial is to change to barefoot. It's the kind of modding that several people like to do. Several people like to get accustomed and change to barefoot. Okay? So let's talk about body types on Dead or Alive 5 modding. Okay? If you look at Funny Bunny mods, these are Dead or Alive Venus Vacation models, which means that this mod has one specific type of body. There are some nude mods around with the nude body type done by Harry Palmer and other modders. So when you pick up mods in the internet, first thing you got to know is what type of body you got at your hands. Is it a vanilla body? It's a nude body from Harry Palmer. It's a body from Dead or Alive Venus Vacation. And why that's important? Because the body shape, they are slightly different from one to the other, and the textures are slightly different. Okay, I'm going to open this model on Last Round Photo Studio. So this is the mod for Newton without wings. Okay, if we right click mouse here and choose Texture Viewer, the tool is going to show us the textures which are being used by this mesh, her body mesh. Okay, so I have the diffuse texture. I can choose to hide the mesh here. Okay, so I can see the texture. This is the diffuse mesh. You have this is the sweat. Sorry, not diffuse mesh. Diffuse texture. This is the sweat texture. You have also the normal map. The normal map is what gives volume on the mesh, because when we open in Blender, you probably will understand better how it is. You know, some of these surfaces are actually flat surfaces. The impression that you have in terms of volume here is given by the normal map. Okay. Again, if I'm not using the right nomenclature, understand I'm not a professional of the area. Okay. So, and you have the dirty texture. Dirty textures and sweat textures, they will appear in game. This is the dirty one, and this is the sweat one. Okay, which will be seen for Newton. But again, if you look at the diffuse texture, this texture is slightly different from a texture from the vanilla game and from Harry Palmer's body and from other types of body that you have around. So if you are going to work one mod, you got to know which body is that you are working with. So if you, why? Because, for example, in this case, we're going to change her boots to barefoot. So I got to get another body model with barefoot in which I'm going to transplant the feet here. Has to be the same body type. Okay? On Blender is going to be easy to understand. So let's go there. We'll get on Blender, and so we go File, Import, TMC, and we're going to open the Newton mod from Funnybody. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Once you are in Blender, there are several things that you can do to make your work easier. There are too many things here that we don't need to see. Okay, you go here to the right panel, expand, and all the objects in. First thing we're going to hide is the armature. Armature is like the skeleton, okay, for the model. So we don't need to see the armature. It's not relevant for our modding at this moment. So I'm going to hide here the armature. Other things I want to hide is the objects in her hands. they are not really relevant. So we can hide all these and make our working space clear. Okay, so we can work better. If you hold left shift in the keyboard and press the middle mouse button, you can move the model up and down. I release left shift, I can still move up and down. But if I only press the middle button like this, it's gonna rotate without the left shift, okay? So it's a way to use keys to work faster. You press the middle button and you can rotate the mod. If you hold left shift in the keyboard and press the middle button, you can pan, okay, for better positioning the mod. Right. One other thing we're going to do here, we're going to hide the boot. The boot's gonna go. We're going to remove it. So we hide the boot and the boot elements. It's good to click here on Blender to understand if these meshes are alone or if they are together with other things. Because the boot, for example, could be together with another piece of the outfit. And if you delete that with left round Photo Studio, you're going to be deleting more than the boot, and we don't want that. So we're checking here, the boot meshes are so far only the boot, right? That's right, the zipper, and there is another small one. So we got rid of the boot. What does this tell us? That we can delete the boot with left round Photo Studio because it's faster to do this. Just come here and go delete, save, delete, and then we'll be getting rid of all these parts that we're not going to keep in the outfit. Of course, for Photo Studio, it works like Blender. If you press middle mouse button, rotates. If hold left shift, it pans. Very convenient, isn't it? Okay, so we have removed the boot. Of course, Photo Studio automatically renames the model. You can just come here and get rid of these ones. And we're going to rename this. And this is on mod. Okay. All right. So we need now a body with a feet to transplant to this one. Okay. Let me talk to you about something regarding this body. The reason why some people use Blender 279 is because some of the plugins, one of the plugins doesn't work with the newer versions, and it's the one to keep the vertex normals and avoid damage. What you see here in the body is a damage in the mesh. If I select the mesh here on left, you can see that there is a line here, right? There is this line. This is a damage in the mesh, which will be correcting, but not yet. Okay, so let's bring another body in, so we can take out the feet and change to this one. I'm going to import another TMC, and it's this new Tengu is from Funny Bunny also. As I said, the same body type, but you can see here that we start to have some problems. As you can see, the meshes, they don't line up 100%. See, it's not perfect, but this requires some investigation. It's good that this happened, because if it happened on a perfect way, you probably guys would not be learning anything here, anything valid. Okay, so let's do something first. Let's put some color in these bodies. Okay, how do you do? You click the mesh. You'll be rolling down here this menu, choosing this. It's like a sphere, new. Again, we go down to viewport display color, and we're going to choose a color for the initial body that we had. Okay, that's it. Let's get a color for the second body. You can click here in the working area, like I'm clicking, or you can click here in this right side menu, whichever you think it's better. It will be convenient if it's a very small mesh. Sometimes it's difficult to pick up in the working area. The body is a big one, so it's not a big trouble. So, but let's move forward. We're going to put a color in this one too. Let's make it blue. Okay, so we can differentiate one from the other. Okay, all right. So we've got here the two bodies. Okay. What do we need to check now? What we need to check now is if there is some place in these legs in which the vertex they get close to each other. How does this works? We'll be getting this body here, okay? And first thing we're going to do, let's clean out this body. How do we clean? Let's delete all this upper part of the body. Okay? We can click here to see like a wireframe. This is very convenient because you can select a vertex in front and in the back at the same time. So click here, hit C on the keyboard, so you have the circle selection tool. And with the mouse wheel, you change the size. So let's get all this upper part of the body. And if you hold left control and plus in the numpad, sorry, you press ESC, right, to unselect the selection tool. Left control and plus, we're going to expand the selection. Or minus, left control minus, we decrease the selection, okay? So this is good if you want to select just some parts of the mesh. In this case, waist up. Right click, delete. Okay. All right, we took that out of the model. Let's see here something. Okay. What we got to do now? What we got to do now is very simple. We got to choose. We got to choose a cross section. We choose a place in which from that cross section down is going to be the barefoot from the full body mesh. From that cross section up is going to be the old mesh. Okay. Since it doesn't align 100% in any place here whatsoever, I would suggest that we get this one in the middle of the lower part of the leg, maybe a little bit lower. Let me see. The idea would be in a place where the difference is not so big in terms of spacing from one to the other, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, we'll be getting here in this area. Okay, so where you still have the donating mesh selected. C for circle selection key, get a cross section, delete. Okay, we got delete the same one in the other leg. If you have selected something that you don't want to select, which is what happened to me here, you just don't press any key on the keyboard, press the middle mouse key, and that will allow you to unselect. Okay? Left mouse button, you select. Middle mouse button, you unselect. Quite quick, quite convenient. Then again, select here. So once we have separated the lower part of this body, the feet, everything which is above, we don't need. So select just a small piece, or select everything. To make sure you have selected it all, Control, numpad plus. It's everything selected. Right mouse button, delete vertex, and that's it. What do we have left? Only the feet. Okay, that's what we got. The feet only. Don't forget, we need also the nails. The nails will be needed in the mod, but it's something I'm going to get there. Okay, once you have done this, with this body, you can click here. It's the way that I do to select, to see the vertex. Okay, let's go back to this one. What we need to do with this body, we need to remove the mesh from this point below. Okay, so we're going to do a similar task like the other one. Wireframe, circle selection key with C from keyboard, left mouse button, select, delete. Same thing in the other leg. Delete. And that's it. We almost have. Okay, what would I do in this case? Okay, I told you guys, it doesn't align 100%. So what's my recommendation? We look at the mesh and see, okay, little bit to the back, right? You can see here. Oops, sorry, let me hide the armature. Little bit to the back, little bit to the back, little bit outside, right? Okay. You see these symbols here? They are very convenient if you want to look sideways or in front. We're going to make sure that we are looking front. Okay. Again, zoom with the mouse wheel. Wireframe again. I will be selecting only these ones, and you will have these tools here. This is the move tool. It's always a good thing to do it smooth, so we move a little bit to the left, I'll select this row, a little bit more, and I would say it's there. Yeah, it's there. Same thing with the other one. Wireframe, C, move tool, left mouse to hold, that left mouse button to hold, C and middle button to unselect, move a little bit more. You can click outside in the left click mouse here in this area to unselect everything. Remove wireframe. Looks well lined up, doesn't it? Okay. Now we're going to move backwards a little bit. Oops, sorry. To move backwards, you can move both together. Okay, so get wireframe, press, I'll use 2 rows only because it's not much, we're going to move backwards. Some zoom. And that's it. Okay. Better, isn't it? It's not perfect. If you think about it's not perfect. It's a mod, in my opinion, doesn't have to be. Okay. It has to look nice. So what do we do now? We got to put this body together, okay? Because it's not together, and it's gonna give trouble if it stays like this. So we got to join this one with the other one. We click mouse in this one, left click, hold left shift in the keyboard, click in the other one, and Ctrl J, and now we have everything in one mesh file only. Oops. Okay. Now it's just one mesh. Next step, wireframe again, and we are going to join together all these vertices. We'll be using C again as selection tool, select 2 of them, right click, merge vertex at center, always at center, always at center. So you get the distance in between both for a smoother transition. Okay. So we'll be doing for each one of these the same procedure. Right mouse, merge at center. Click outside, C for selection tool, merge vertex at center. Again. Center. One by one. If you probably now understand why doing more complex body modeling can be a pain, because this one is this as simple as it gets. Simple cross section at a leg, not a big deal. Center, ask, click outside, C, ask, merge at center, unselect, select, merge at center. Again, merge at center, merge at center. Okay. And that's it. It's done for this side. Same thing for the other one. Center. Just make sure you're following the process. We press C for circle selection tool, left click on both vertex you want to merge, right click, merge vertices, at center, C again, unselect, ask. Okay, it's as most work in Blender is just mechanical. Once it's in your head, you'll be doing without even noticing. This procedure can be used, for example, to add hands to a mod. Several of the mods I did, instead of animating hands, I just prefer to get the hands from another mod and just, plug in like this. It's faster, works better. Okay, now it's one piece, sort of. Okay, Neil, we are almost there. Okay, now we have the body mesh. Okay, we want to make sure we also have the nails, right? You don't see any nails here, but they are. They should be. Oh, here they are. They are in all the body. But the nails in this one, they are separated. That's interesting. No problem. What we're going to do is I'm going to join these nails with the other nails. Why I'm doing that? Because I know that these nails from the body 10 mesh, they are in the right place. So I don't want to delete these ones. Okay, I want to use these nails because they are in the right place. So just hide them. You can see here that the other nails are in the wrong place. See? So to go faster, because there is a fast and easy way to do. Why not? I'm going to select this one and get rid of all the nails here on the top. Click outside, C, circle selection tool, delete, and go back again. I'm joining feet nails with hand nails. Again, it's the same procedure as the body it was. Left clicking this one, left shift on the keyboard, hold, left clicking the other one, Ctrl J, and it's one mesh only. Okay. We're almost at the point of exporting the meshes to re-inject in the model. Okay? We'll be needing this mesh for the nails and the body one. Let's talk about the body again. You saw that the body is damaged. Okay? We've got to fix that. We'll be selecting everything. So you click here to show all the vertex, and you choose A. Delete the character A on the keyboard. It will select everything. And right click, merge vertices by distance. This will make the body mesh smooth. But the normals are damaged because the plugin to keep normals does not work on Blender 283. It means that we need to do a fixing step in the end to make sure that the next scene in this area doesn't show up in game, that you have smooth transition of texture from body to the head. Okay. So, but we are in the position to export. So we are going to export the body. File, export, TMC mesh, save, export. If you are working with a body mesh with very high count of polygons, it can take lots of time to conclude the process of exportation, okay? And depending also on your computer. Okay, it was done here. Now we have the nails, okay? File, export, TMC mesh. Okay, so that's done. There are two ways to change the meshes here. You can, I will use the two ways to show you how can be done. Let's see. Let's change the body mesh with left round Photo Studio. You right click, swap for TMC mesh, and the body was the 11 one, right? We're going to just drag, and that's it. It replaces it. Will this work 100% of the time? No, it will not. It worked in the body because the body has 4 textures. If you go for the nails, which has less, and I'm pretty sure it has less because it's how anybody does. See, it has 2 only. That will not work. Okay, so we're going to have to inject with polygon insert tool for the nails. What do we do? What's the name of this mesh? Body 10. It's, if you look in the bottom, in this bottom area, you hover over the mesh, you can see the name there, body 10. And we are working with the file named out, okay? Cannot lose our track of that. So I'm going to close here. I'm going to rename this out. I don't advise you to do as I'm doing because I'm basically deleting or sending to recycle bin the old version of the mod, and if I lose, I gotta go there to find out where it is and try to recover. But I know what I'm doing. Just keep in mind that something can go wrong in the process. So with polygon tool, I'm going to open here, polygon insert tool. Choose insert into object different vertex data. We've got check in. We will be opening our Newtengu underwear mod, okay? And we are going to add the mesh body 10 for the nails. Body 10 TMC mesh is going to replace body 10. See this star here, it shows that they have different vertex data, if I'm not mistaken, which means that when I exported from Blender, this was supposed to work with more, I think, more amount of textures. I could be telling nonsense here, but that's how I understood. So very important thing, keep. If you choose keep, it's gonna keep the old mesh. We don't want to keep the old mesh. Sometimes it might be interesting if you're joining meshes. Okay, you can choose keep, but in this case we are replacing, so we choose to delete the old mesh, and we hit save. And now we have our Newtengu mod with barefoot and nails in the feet. Final step, to correct the body normals. Okay, we'll be using TNC, OBJ TNC conversion. Is this one? I think so. I think it's a post-processing tool too. And this is the tool we're going to use. So what are we going to do? This tool has many purposes. Here it's just for post-processing. We're going to hold and drag the mod file to this field here in the top. And we're going to choose correct neck vertices, smooth seams. For what? For everything, all groups. Is it for Nyotengu? Yes, Nyotengu. So everything is ready to go. Inject. The tool makes a backup of the file, and the output is this one is right. So here's the mod. Ready to roll, done. Okay, and it will work fine in game. And if you look here, can you point out where was the intersection? Very hard, isn't it? Actually, you can't, because it's the same body type with the same texture. If you look here, you don't see any point of discontinuity in the UV map. Okay, so a way to see the UV map in Blender, you select the body and go here, UV editing, and you can load the texture here and see the UV map in the texture. But that's about it, guys. I hope you guys can take something out of Blender. Blender is biggest problem is to get used to the tools. I didn't use much things here. There are rescale tools, there are rotating tools, there are several other tools that you can use in Blender. But the biggest challenge I found when I started to work was to get used with the working environment and the shortcuts. If you know the shortcuts, it makes much faster to work with Blender and get things done. So I will not be keeping open to comments in this video on YouTube, but you can comment in my post at DeviantArt, and I will be answering questions and helping. And I hope you guys can do modding for the other live 5 last round as I did, because it's a fun game, it's a good game, and it's nice if more players get into it. Okay, thank you for your time.